Welcome to my tech. Today I'm going to talk about the revolution that has just been started by Gen Zs and the millennials and even the alphas who are now about to understand what is happening. This is something that should not be taken lightly by anyone, let alone those in power. Before I do that, if you're watching this video, subscribe to my YouTube channel, Philip Etale, like it and share it widely. Welcome. For the past 1 week, we have witnessed a wave of demonstrations and protests of unarmed young Kenyans who are just trying to exercise their democratic right under Article 37 of the 2010 Constitution, which Kenyans voted for overwhelmingly in the year 2010 and promulgated it in the same year on August 27th. These young people, most of them, if not all of them, are jobless. Most of them are still in institutions of higher learning, tertiary education. These young men and women believe that this country deserves better. These young men and women believe that with good leadership, they can be able to get employment opportunities. They can be able to get an environment in which they can start businesses without being intimidated, coerced, or even being forced to part with something. Corruption is the order of the day in our country. Corruption is eating into our time. Corruption is day-to-day activity for some people who believe that without corruption, Kenya cannot prosper. Let me tell you, corruption is not good. Countries that have thrived, like China, Japan, Singapore, have done it because they don't believe that you have to part with something for you to be anything. Kenyans have decided that indeed we have to ensure that our country is well governed, our country is well taken care of by those in leadership. But indeed, those in leadership seem to be arrogant and think that whatever these Gen Zs are doing is just a waste of time. I listened to one legislator, a leader in the Senate, saying that no matter what you do, no matter what Gen Zs do, we will not be intimidated. They are not here to intimidate you. They're here to impart sense in you so that you can realize that you are not taking this country to the right trajectory. Kenya is a big country. Kenya doesn't belong to any one of us. It belongs to all of us. Kenya is a country that was founded on the basis of we can help each other to be something, not we can suppress one another for us to be something. We have to be thinkers of good thoughts as a country. We have to be doers of good deeds for those in leadership. If the message that has been sent out by the Gen Zs cannot make you realize that what you're doing is wrong, then what other message do you expect? I'm not saying that these Gen Zs are trying to force you out of power. No, they're just trying to tell you that you are not doing the right thing. Mr. President, listen to this. I listened to you on Sunday when in a church in Nyahururu. I'm a member of the Anglican Church of Kenya, and I appreciated when you joined our fellow congregants for the inauguration of our new bishop of the Nyahururu diocese. And I was delighted because, you know, the service was well attended. But what shocked me is the fact that faithful going to church was subjected to thorough security checks, Mr. President. I remember when President Mwai Kibaki, whom you claim to be a role model, used to go to church at the Consolata Shrine in Westlands, Nairobi, nobody could realize that the president is seated in that church. Nobody could even smell the aroma of presidency in that church. But why would you go to a church with a contingent of armed police officers just because Gen Zs have said they are coming to tell you what their feeling is about the leadership in this country? Mr. President, you don't have to subject people to such kind of treatment. Another thing I want to say is that when I watched the Gen Zs on the streets, I've been following them. Their message is clear. We want a good Kenya. We want a Kenya in which we can live happily. We want a Kenya in which we can do businesses. We want a Kenya in which we can get employment opportunities. Why don't you listen to them? Or do you think it's too late for you? The Gen Zs have made their voice. The Gen Zs have made their resolve clear that indeed Kenya is not going in the right direction. And their message was categorical that those who've been there have failed us. Our parents have failed us. Now it's our turn to show you the way. Indeed, it's a good thing. Let's impress them. Let's listen to them. They are not armed. I was impressed. None of them was even carrying a stone to holler at the police officer. It is the police that were meting violence on these peaceful demonstrators. Young children, young boys and girls who want a better Kenya. Let's listen to them. Let's not ignore them. Because you know, a good listener is that person who sits down and listens even to the smallest voice. Even that small voice can add more sense into your thinking and broaden your thoughts. Listen to them. Listen to them. Listen to the Gen Zs. They say reject the finance bill. The finance bill is not good for them. They think it's just one way of trying to intimidate and suppress them. Why didn't you listen to them? Instead, members of parliament allied to Kenya Kwanza and a few from Azimio decided to vote for this finance bill. Do they know the repercussions? Revolutions start like these. Could it be one way of sending people home? Maybe they don't know that these people whom they think are not voters will one day become voters and they will show you dust. This is my take.